Hi, I'm Mary Valamides, and I'm going to share with you the 4th grade 5th-6 weeks mathematics curriculum preview. Here are the big ideas for this 6 weeks. Notice that we will be having a CBA on the very first day. Now here is a calendar. Notice it's going to go with the pacing guide. Please don't think I'm telling you to teach by the book. I just want you to see the student expectations that I've allowed for the amount of time so that you can know to help you as you plan. So notice that we're going to just finish quadrilaterals and begin line symmetry. Now symmetry is a little difficult for the kids because you're going to introduce that concept. But here, this particular item is talking about 4.6D, which is about quadrilaterals. And notice it's asking for the figure that would have 2 obtuse angles. Now our 10th lowest scoring item was number 43. Here, the kids are having to choose 2 figures, which appear to be rectangles. Hi, I'm Mary Valamides, and I'm going to share with you the 4th grade 5th-6 weeks mathematics curriculum preview. Here are the big ideas for this 6 weeks. I'm sharing with you a calendar that I use to help me just put the pacing guide in order. Now notice I do not want you to think that I'm trying to tell you teach by the book. What I'm showing you is the number of days that I've allowed for each student expectation. So if you notice this very first day of finishing quadrilaterals, I've allowed 1 day for that and then 2 days for symmetry. Also notice that we're going to be giving a math CBA for the first day of this 6 weeks. So for 6D, we're going to be finishing the student expectation. Notice this is the 7th lowest scoring item in 2016. Please make sure the kids know those terms of obtuse and angles. This is the 10th lowest scoring item. Notice the kids have to pick 2 figures that could appear to be rectangles. Then you'll begin symmetry for 2 days. You introduced symmetry to your students. They've never had it before, not in 3rd or any grade level before that. So please make sure you show them either with folding paper or newspaper for that matter, just making a figure and folding it in half to show congruent sides on both sides. Or if you have mirrors, you can use those to show where if you put it, for example, on this line, that you should see the other half of the triangle. Here's an item in 2016 that the students scored 67% mastery. Then you'll go into geometry for 8 days. Here is where you're going to be using your protractors that you should have had received a couple of years ago. Now 4.7a and 4.7b will not ever be assessed on STAR. However, there are texts that you need to know that the kids need to be aware of because they're the foundation of basically measuring with a protractor. So please make sure they realize that a full rotation of a circle is 360 degrees, and you can use your angle viewer that you should have gotten a couple of last year to demonstrate this. And then also notice as you pull this side out or this side out, the red part will get larger, or if you put it together, it'll get smaller to demonstrate what the degrees are in between the 2 angles, or the 2 rays actually. So a straight line is of a half of a circle is 180 degrees. So 4.7b will possibly be tested. And here are some examples of how you could teach 4.7b, because we're looking at the cut of 360 degrees. Then 4.7c, we're determining actually the measurement of an angle to the nearest whole number. And here you are going to need to use a protractor. Now notice this is one of our lowest scoring SEs on the 2015-16 STAR test. So here's where you might need to actually read a protractor from right to left, or left to right, or only the angles, the space between the 2 rays in the middle. So notice here the kids may have to subtract the one angle from the other. Then what is a measure of, this is an example of 2016 STAR item, 55% mastery. The question is, what is the measure of angle XYZ to the nearest degree? So notice here the kids had to make sure and measure to 89 degrees. When they're looking at the protractor, it's good to have them estimate. Is it close to 90? Is it more than 90? Is it less than 90? Have them get a sense of reasonableness reading a protractor. Here's another example. Item 46, the kid scored 56% mastery. And look at the question says, which angle has a measure closest to 30 degrees? If the kids have a good idea that this is an obtuse angle, therefore it cannot be this one. This is almost a right angle, it cannot be that one. So I might be able to just go ahead and take those two out and just look at H and F and see which one is closer to 30. Here's another item. This was a sample item. It was never tested. Then 47D, draw an angle with the given measure. Notice with this you can use your protractor, but also you can use your Exploragons. Here's how it was, it could be assessed. This was a release sample item. It wasn't assessed, but here's an example of how it could be assessed. So if you complete the 65-degree angle, Frank should draw another ray that starts at P, point P, and passes through what angle? Or which point in this case. Then 4.7e, determine the measure of an unknown angle. Here they could be two non-overlapping adjacent angles given one or both angle measurements. So the kids need to know what an adjacent angles are and that they share a common vertex and side. Here are some examples. For example, if we look at this particular one, we have a 90-degree angle. We know that because of this little box or square in the by the vertex between the two rays. So if we know that this is 45 degrees and we know this means 90 degrees, then we would add 90 plus 45 to get 135 for that angle. This is an item that was tested last year. Kids passed with 68%. Here's a sample item. Looks very similar to the tested item, only is facing a different direction. You have these manipulatives available, your Exploragons. You have patty paper where the kids can draw angles and show symmetry with them, as well as the angle viewer. Then after you cover the angles, then it's time for measurement. So here we'll have 9 days to cover customary lengths and metric lengths. But notice these 9 days are a little broken up. You're going to have 3 days, and then you can have this day over here as well. And then you'll have grade 4 star writing for 2 days. And then you'll start again back with mixed measures. And you don't have to stop here to do your end of the year screener. You can continue with measurement and do your end of the year screener later on in the week. Remember, you have April the 3rd to the 13th to do it. So customary and metric measures. Here you're going to have 4.8a, where you're going to identify relative sizes of measurement units within the customary and metric systems. Please make sure you use the reference materials from TEA, that reference chart. The kids can see the metric and the customary conversions in this chart. So please make sure they are using this and understanding how to use it. On item number 35, here the kids had to measure the best length of a bat. So this would come up with experience. So if they can measure a lot in the classroom, this will give them the idea, or a good idea as to what the length of the bat might be. Then 4.8b, notice we are converting measurements. within the same measurement system. So it will either be customary or metric, not customary to metric or vice versa. So you're going to go from a smaller unit to a larger or a larger unit to a smaller unit. Here are some ideas of how you can teach this concept. But whatever you do, it's so important to use this chart in the middle of this table, this column. Notice we're showing the process of multiplying by 12. So 1 foot is 12 inches. So we're going to multiply by 12 to get 12 inches. This is the 14th lowest scoring item. Notice it is a griddable item, but also in this case it's a conversion of 648 feet to yards. So the kids also need to know reasonableness of feet is smaller than yards, therefore you're going to have a smaller number when you're looking at yards. So 4.8c, we do measurements of length, we do intervals of time, liquid volumes, mass, and money with the 4 operations. Notice this is a readiness standard. So you can introduce measurement with having a scavenger hunt or a measurement on the mark scavenger hunt from customary benchmarks, which this is all in Eduphoria. 4.8c, this was the lowest scoring item. Notice that this is a conversion of grams to kilograms as well as a multi-step problem. Then we're going to continue Unit 9 with time. Notice we have 3 days for elapsed time before we teach money. So here we have examples of time. You can use a number line, you can use a table. These will be good tools as well as an elapsed time ruler. Now here's an item that was our 12th lowest scoring item on STAR in 2016. Then you have 1 day for money, and here's a STAR release sample item, 4.8c. So here the kids would have to figure out how much the coins and dollars are worth together, and then subtract $5.36 from that amount. Vocabulary, you have some new vocabulary words to go over with your kids, as well as reviewing some of the ones that they may have seen in the past. So here are some 4 new activities you could do with your word wall activities, word wall, as well as others that you've seen in the past. Now there's a few things I want you to share with you with your STAR assessment. It won't be in March 28th, by the way, it's in May. But here are some specific changes. The STAR in grades 3 through 8 assessments were shortened by 14 questions each. So the blueprint has changed. The field test items, there will only be 6, not 8. There's still going to be 3 griddable questions, and there isn't any change in the assessed curriculum. So basically, this part of the blueprint has remained the same. What has changed is the number of items that will be tested. So this part is what's changed. So there's only 34 items on the test. Notice this is a comparison of our 2016 test versus 2017. And you'll see that we had 48 items last year. This year, the kids will only have 34. 31 of which will be multiple choice and 3 griddable items. So still, the majority of the items will be over readiness standards. Notice we'll have 20 to 22 questions over the readiness standards. So the readiness standards stay the same. There's 13 of them. And as you prepare to go ahead and study or prepare the kids for STAR, you might want to either focus on the readiness standards or just the first 2 reporting categories. I want to share with you with the next 6 weeks. Notice you'll only have 1 more week of learning about the financial literacy, and then from there you'll have STAR review, and your test will be on May 8th. So as you prepare to review, here is the results of our 2015 and 2016 readiness standards. So as you decide which text to review, you may focus on these lower scoring standards that we've had difficulty with the last 2 years. Here's our supporting standards. Notice NT means that they were not tested. Could be tested, they just weren't tested. And here's our process standards. So you can see that 4.1b, 4.1d, and 4.1g are areas of strength, but 4.1c is definitely a weakness. So think how you can bring in those process standards with the questions you provide for the kids. Professional development, CAMP is in Fort Worth this year, May 1st. Make sure you put in your $185 registration. It's going to be at the Convention Center, July 10th through the 12th. So I hope to see you then. And also, if you want to volunteer, please let me know and I can help you with that. So thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day and a great 6 weeks. Bye.